Hello and welcome to the Pilot Review Show with Scott Ross. Joining me today, as always, I got Tim Wolf.
How's it going, guys?
He's over there getting his food ate, so don't mind him.
Sorry.
uh, so today I was going to go over a couple other things, but he has not shown up. He has not responded back, so I think he might have forgotten about what was going on. Either way, being the case, what we're going to do today, kind of a sidestep. Um, I want to go over and show you a couple different ways of doing a change in your structure of things. For example, you get a build that you've been using. You had such poor knowledge of the mechanics of the game, and someone says, "Well, you need to respect." Well, what is the respect? Where is it at? What's it going to look like? How can you do it easily so you don't have to rewrite the book, so to say, but you can modify the things that was wrong so bad and put it into the things that was right without having to um, completely re-up everything as a whole. So we're going to go over that so you can understand some of those concepts and whatnot and this captain, some of the annoying things that happens as a result of respecing, because there's a few things that does happen that if you don't know about this, you might get started on something without knowing that they happen, and all of a sudden your best traits that you had slotted, you might find them gone. In fact, not might, you will find them gone. So we want to go over that so that you can at least be aware of that. I'm going to show you the ship build that I actually am using. I got to still get this ship yet.
So you're doing a build for a ship you don't have.
Yes. I do have the T6 version. I just don't have the fleet ship module yet. And by yet, I was planning on getting it today, but apparently the charge system with Cryptic is down or not working right now for me, anyways. So apparently they don't want my money that I was going to spend to get a fleet ship module or two and get myself to fleet Dauntless.
That's
So
surprising.
yeah, I was kind of surprised that it simply was not available for me to get. And if anyone else has seen the same thing, it'd be interesting to see if it's down for you as well. When I go there, it gives me an error that I can't find the page, and it could be any number of things for me. I don't know. But anyways, this is my build that I have. Like I said, it essentially what I'm going to be end up going with. I'm using something a little differently because I don't. I'm kind of playing around right now at this point in time, kind of testing out a couple of different theories that I have. Because I also don't have the Iconian set on this officer yet. So this is one of those things like I tell you, is it's a build up of things. You get into it, and all my gear in this captain, in fact, none of my gear on this captain is at the epic level yet. So this just has a couple of things to note. Um, I decided to go with a couple of different things: disabling resonance beam and the override safety systems. One for the lieutenant science, just because I want to get that extra little power for the gravity wells that I have slotted here. For those who are not aware, the solenoid deflector for a ship build that you want to get up in high gravity wells, this is probably one of the best combinations because at epic level, actually at ultra rare, I believe it is, it gets plus 50 on the exotic damage that it does. So that's one of those things why it's in there. On the secondary deflectors, this is one of those things that you kind of got to do your research on ahead of time, figure out what powers you're going to be using heavily. And in this case, where I'm using like Tychon's Rift and Gravity Well, the inhibiting secondary deflector is what I had to go on. They don't have here on Soul Academy yet. I imagine they got to get this in and working. The exact little modifications that you want to be using. I'll go over some of them that I found that'd be quite interesting, and some couple that I'm going to be playing with in my field. Like I said, using the Iconian engine, core, and shield. And if you can't tell, this is a phaser build out that I've done for it. Technically, this build is for someone else that I've done on the Facebook group that we modify. I'm probably going to use something like disruptors or tetrons in the end. I'm not exactly sure which one I want to use. I'm thinking
I was going to ask you about that because you typically don't run crafted phasers, so that's
no,
a different view for you, I would say.
it is, and like I said, this was done actually for someone else. He wanted a phaser build specifically for him. In this case here, energy modification is just a matter of you change it to what you prefer more than the other. And like I said, in my case, I might go with a Tetron for something different. Because like I said, this is a completely different setup and build for me. This is not my typical like antiprotons and I'm done type thing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing something different. On these science consoles, they're all part gens. I'll be getting them at Mark X when I am ready to get them. I think I might be able to get a couple right now. But I'll get them at Mark X. That way I can upgrade them, got a few more upgrade chances and whatnot. Skills, these are the skills list. Like I said, this is what I'm going to base off of. And I've already got this up on this particular captain. So things like sensor scan, you can definitely modify this up so you can get it up higher. I mean, I could definitely drop that down a little bit and take that down, and probably can find a couple other points of comparison so I can get a few more up here. It looks like I need another 1,500 points. There it is. So there we go. I got 6 in sensor scan. So that's going to be probably what I'm going to do. And so you're going to get to see this actually happen because I have not done this exact little setup here as far as these skills. So those are the only couple of differences that I'm going to be doing. And this is where dual mantras is going to come in play here. Now, as far as the spec trees are concerned, I probably would still stick with the Intel and the Pilot because there's no science focus specialization trees yet. And then the traits here, I got a few different traits here that's a little bit better than this. You'll see exactly what I got that's different than what's in here. I'll show you what I am using and what I will be using in the end. And then this build, yeah, that's right. Okay. So you got 2 Romulan superior Romulan operatives, one of the T4 diplomacy engineer pirates, and the potato head guy that you want to be grabbing. My officers, I believe, is going to be quite a bit different than this particular setup because this particular build, like I said, was aimed at and designed for someone that they didn't have as many resources as like me or Timberwolf had because of our time that we put into this game. So he requested that I do something a little bit cheaper as far as that end run of things. But in this particular build, you get 2 deflect officers. There's a couple that do gravity well, if I recall, where you can do does a secondary gravity well if it gets done. I believe there's also an exotic damage boost that you can get from one, if I remember right. This is one of those builds I did when I was at work, and I had a couple spare moments that I was able to throw it together and get it up and ready for this guy that I did it for. So there's the build. I'm going to put it on my second monitor for the skills because that's one of the advantages of second monitors. One of the reasons I love it because I don't have to tab back and forth. But so here I am at the specialization officer. For those who are not aware of where he's at, if you beam in right here at the transporter, and you see Admiral Quinn is right here. So basically, it's just down below Admiral Quinn. He's hard. The spec officer is hard to train. Right next to where you get the bridge training manuals that you can buy So let's go here and hit respec. And you see I got 8 respec tokens. I'm a lifetime subscription. So every time I leveled up at certain points, I got a new respec token. Every time I had to come see Mr. Quinn, that's when you get them. So it's based upon what I changed. So go drop that down, drop those, that, and then 3 right there. And that was enough to get sensor scans up to 6. So if you saw what I did, instead of setting the, I'll do this just to show you the clear all. In the clear all, you have to build it up one item at a time. So for me, it's a little more annoying, especially if you got it. You may find yourself in your build that you get suggested by someone that knows a lot about your particular area that you're trying to focus on. You might just be a couple points off, like I was, just barely. So you might not need to do a complete clear and wipe over from the ground up. So that's one thing to be aware of, is sometimes it's not as complicated as that. It might just be a simple little thing. So that's really what I need. I play around. I like to keep batteries because it's very important to help improve the duration of the batteries and how long they last. I don't think the 3 does a whole lot, to be honest. I'd have to play around with that, and it might be one of those things that I have spare points in almost every single officer that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that, use one of my tokens here. You can see I'm not too worried about all of that. Sometimes as you respec, see right there, all my traits got completely wiped out.
Jeez.
It's one of the annoying things about what happens. I'm not exactly sure. I imagine there might be a reason, because like some of these traits might, at one point, it was one of the things that if you wanted to redo your personal traits, you had to go respec. And so that might be part of the system that never got removed from the system. Conservation of energy. This is a good one here. Gain 10% bonus damage on exotic damage powers when struck by energy damage. Stacks up to 3 times.
Yummy.
That's 30% damage boost. And I'll show you a couple of the other things that I'll be using here. Fluidic Cocoon, Helmsman, Intense Focus. Helmsman will probably get replaced by Inspirational Leader later on down the road, or perhaps even the Intense Focus will get replaced by that. Since Inspirational Leader will do a lot more and go a lot further into boosting my need for the exotic damage items. Warp Theorist, so that's obviously with the warp core potentials and the power transfer rate, so you want those two. Power is going to be a humongous thing on this particular ship build. I still got to get a Fire at Will 3 that I got actually in my bank, ready to go. And I need to train this officer. Do right now, you get to see some things that you have to do when you change your builds. So there's a pad that's necessary. Half an hour. I'm going to rush it just for the sake of the show because I don't want to do it later on. Not necessary. I want to make sure to mention that. And that's Level 3. Yep. Which is what I want.
I will add, because of this ship build and because of some of the science builds that I've seen, a couple of our friends, most notably 2 players, Tankia and Proteus, they have gravity well builds on this exact ship, and some of the other science abilities. I've started my own science character as well, just because it's not just about DPS, but the things that you can do with gravity well alone is so exciting and unique that it begs to be played. It just really does.
Oh yeah, it's got so much potential there by itself. And one of the things that I might end up switching over to later on down the road, once I get it all finalized with it, is a Skittlebolt.
Oh
I would probably make this officer the Skittlebolt science build, the complete Skittlebolt science build.
man.
So Cole, he's probably going to be one of the officers that gets replaced later on down the road. Gravity Well. And here's how you change it. So you got your defaults to what you want it to be. Tycoon's Rift. That's what I want here. And then it's my other science officer. Oh. Let me get the override systems. Sometimes for me, I do a lot of back and forth. It's because I think one thing at a time. I try not to do everything in one shot.
Of course.
Because it's one of those things that you might still miss it. And you might get the wrong item if you rush all at once and whatnot. That's just my pattern. It's not what I'm telling you guys that you have to be doing a certain method of doing things. Actually, change that to episode 9 here on Twitch. Sorry, talking to myself here. Just happened to notice that Twitch was saying episode number 8. We're on number 9. See, like right there, I just got the wrong one.
It happens.
I got distracted. Oh, let's also... Let's see, is it available? Firewall Impulse Burst. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. I think it's Lieutenant above Turbulence. Oh, yes, that should be there. There it is. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Why? Because we can.
That's right.
So you notice this guy here, he's an efficient. He'll get replaced by Mr. Potato Head probably. Because of the pirate trait. And we might go and make that a quick episode that we do right now, in fact, just to have fun. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, training him on how to be better in his things that he does.
Because he's Mr. Potato Head.
All right. Ionic Turbulence. I didn't change it. Like I said, sometimes I get a little fast in what I do with things and not paying attention.
It happens.
Now, if I recall right, the stabilizing resonance beam was mission reward, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, because you were given all 3 ranks of it as the mission reward, and the moment you finished it, you could then craft it. You had to finish the mission first, but then you could craft it.
Yes, so that'd be one of the things that we'll end up doing, because that was part of this build, was using that the stabilizing resonance beam, but we're going to have fun with the Ionic Turbulence first. So the second part of your ship setup, when you respec your tokens and you get a new ship, especially if you're changing ships or you just barely got your brand new ship and whatnot, you got to make sure that your trays are all in order. Otherwise, you go into a battle and you end up with this. You end up hitting your 10K R&D pool, if you have one, when you hit number 5 trying to hit something else.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. So here's one of the things to look at here. Sensor Analyst here, because I haven't even equipped it yet. In fact, I should be able to upgrade this one to Mark 14. Oh, not enough to lithium.
Uh-oh.
Bummer. Oh, well. We'll get that later. So, one of the reasons that a lot of people like doing the science skills is they got the Sensor Analyst. So to your enemy, +5 damage, a bonus damage and power drain per stack. On ally, it's 5% healing, which is when you target anything alive except yourself. To your enemy, 50% reduction in all incoming heals, so they don't heal as fast. And if they happen to be cloaked, it disables the cloaking while active. So that's one of the benefits. Let's add in this particular inhibiting secondary deflector. The nice thing about this one is this adds exotic damage. I still got another rank to go up, and then obviously got to get up to epic rank later on down the road. This is actually the highest item that I have as far as my entire list. Everything else is mark, except for my Omni, which is mark 14. But this has, so that it's got your exotic damage, so that's going to go for the gravity wells. It's got your flow capacitors, so that you can get more from the leech and the drains that the leech does. Speaking of things, here's a little tip for everyone out there. You could just get yourself in a simulator module, and you're worried about upgrading it and costing money to get it to the Mark 12. Think no more. It's Mark 12 already. I'm going to show that to you. All I had to do was just drop it into the upgrade. That's as simple as that. So anytime you got something that's still got the infinity on it, drop it in. It gets a small slight boost. Not much, but it's a slight boost. So back to the secondary deflector. Some of the things about this that's nice. The inhibiting secondary reflectors, like I said, this is for the gravity well. So you notice that it's got the gravity well damage boost that it does to it. So on top of everything else that the gravity well is doing, this gets an additional 4,000 damage with a 50% shield penetration that applies to your jam sensors, tractive beam repulsors, scramble sensors, gravity well, and photonic shockwave.
Ouch.
Okay, so does that in addition. Plus, in addition, on the sensor analyst, negative 2% damage against the analyst foe every 4 seconds, up to 12% max. So that could be a good number if someone's got a high defense on them. Attack Q, for example, the gateway, each of those, and it shows up right down here as an addition to the foe. There's other ones out there that's got like a heal defense, so that if you were to cast it, it would give more healing along with things. And that in this case here, I wanted to deal as much damage, and this is almost as equivalent of a pin if it's on the right, if they have enough damage or defense going on. So you might find yourself with a additional pin mod. So if I crafted these and these all had the crit times 3 pins, then you could be ineffective doing up to 20 pin by itself. That could be huge as a whole.
Absolutely.
This ship here by itself has the targeting subsystems. I never use them myself. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Because this is an exotic ship, and I am looking to do more damage with the gravity wells and anything else is not necessarily focused on my beam arrays, I want to make sure that I aim it upright. And so in order to get my 4 times amp, which is what my core is designed to do, so that means 4 75s, I gotta look here real quick and see how many my leash is being given right now. And this will change later on when I change my science consoles from the flow capacitors to the part gens. So my power levels is going to slightly adjust. This is one of the things that you need to figure out for yourself, because your numbers may vary from mine. I want to point this out. Your numbers could vary from what you see in mine. So here I have 3.5 power that's being given. So that means 3.5, and it stacks 8 times. That's 24, 28. Is that right? I think that's what it is 28 that it gives. 3.5 times 8. Yep, 28. So then you take in 75 minus the 28. The minimum that every power level has to be for 4 times 75 for the leech itself is at 47. So that means I can drop this down another couple notch. Sometimes you can drop down a couple without question. 25, that should be the number right there, 47. Dead on. And actually it went up a little bit, it looks like. 48, which is fine. Take my shields. at 30, and drop it down another notch. There's my 47 on shields. Now, like I said, I want my exotic to be a little bit higher because I want to get the max damage to my exotic weapon. So get that up to, so it's up 100, so that's 123. And then my weapons is 92, which isn't too bad. 92 over 50, still not bad at all. Still doing quite well as far as I'm concerned. But let me show you. I thought I trained him. There we go. Get the right skills. So that means per second, my gravity well here by itself, as a whole, will do close to 5,300 damage per second. Actually, well, after 4 seconds, it deals 4,000 damage from the radiation. So that's basically, it does about 2,000 points of damage per second is what this comes out to. So that's a lot of damage that this is doing by itself every second, which isn't too bad for an exotic build, but you times that by, say, 8 ships, and there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can get really wicked really quickly.
Yes. And we've seen this pull in things from all around for quite a way. And in some cases, we've even used it to lag a particular run.
I have to take a phone call. I'll be right back.
All right. So I'm gonna get this set up, and then we'll do a mission here. Construction anchor is only there for the exotic damage that it does from the console itself. It's not necessarily there because what it deploys is a great thing of itself. So that's one thing I just want to make sure that's pointed out for those who are looking for as to why I'm using the construction anchor. Let's see if we can't get everything together here quick enough. Okay, sensor analyst. Oops, that's not what I want. Sensor scan. Yes, sensor scan. That's right. Where is it? Okay, space field modulator. What's this? Like I said, I'm still not used to a lot of these science skills. It's one of those things I am still learning. And I got things that's off in the pictures. So it makes it a little challenging to find the right items that I want. Super negotiator. Okay. For those who don't know, I do use keybinds. That's why I pull up this trait, the tray 7 here. That's where my keybinds go that I use. It's more of a deploy as I need it. Scattering field. Okay. Tonic fleet, override system. That right there. Okay, let's see what else I got to. Slipstream, we don't need that. That's not one that I use on a regular basis. Here's my full impulse. Evasive. What else am I missing here? Okay, that's what I'm missing. And so, sure, I thought, did I not train him on that? Sometimes a little back and forth trying to figure out and getting your skills all set up. That's one of the things that happens. It's not necessarily something you can control because you might be looking for something specifically, and it's completely missing. Like in my case there, where I was looking for a particular skill and it wasn't available. And like I said, the only reason you see the Tray 7 is, for those who might just tuned in, that's because of the keybinds that I use, which I'm planning to make a different set of keybinds for this captain. And I'm not even sure that I've even loaded my keybinds on this captain yet. I'll have to play around and figure out what my best skills are to use here as well. Science team is one of the ones to use in certain cases. So it goes right there, makes a good spot for it. And that should do it, even though it looks a little off. When am I missing number 9? Number 8. I know. That's exactly what can go in number 8. And put my gravity well 3 there. All right. So since this is one of the things that I need to get anyways, I have to do that later. I'm not going to go through that mission here in this particular instance. Let's do this instead. Show you kind of the power of this thing. I'll give a couple minutes here real quick for Timber to come back. So since this is what... So yeah, Ernest, keybinds, it's not necessarily that they... it's not necessarily how they work, it's how I have mine set up. Let me pull up my program that I use here, just kind of go over it real quick. What I use is a program called Stow Keybinds, and I'll provide the link for that. Let me open the file that they're on. So it's not necessary to use keybinds. I use it so I don't have to be thinking a whole lot. So that's one of the things that I do. My space bar, I have only one thing that my space bar does, which is the fire all weapons. Now, when I get into my other clicks, it does a few different things, because I should point out that I have a mouse here that has a scroll wheel. It has a auto rapid fire thing, and then it has 12 keys on the side for that's basically the number pad that's on the side of the keyboard that I have. But in my middle click here, which is when I push down the scroll wheel, this is one thing that I use a lot. I have it activating tray 7 slot 3. So let me pull up my tray 7 here real quick. So tray 7 slot 3, that's my attack pattern beta. And then tray 2 slot 5. So in this case here, it's going to be my dim 3. So that's one of those things that I have. Normally, I would have here on most of my tactical officers, I would have a emergency power to weapons instead, and I think I need to actually change my engineering team to be that instead. But actually, I think I actually had something different in my build: emergency power to weapons, and then aux to. But you can do whatever. The reason I have 5, 6, and 7 all being done because 5 would typically be my emergency power to weapons. 6 will be the dim 1 or 3, depending on what ship I'm running. I'll run whatever the highest dim is, highest emergency power to weapons, and then 7 would end up being my fire at will 3 that I have. And then the tray 8 slot 10 happens to be my launching pets if I'm working on a pet build. So that's one of the things that I have with my ships is I have pets on a lot of them. This is not one of those cases. This ship does not have a hangar bay on it. So my right mouse click launches pretty much everything else in tray 7. And so that everything that gets missed gets launched. I have a couple of tray 8s. I have a tray 2 slot 5. So that's be right here typically. Typically here in my spot, I will use, I don't have to move this over because that's what's off here a little bit. Move that up or move that over to 7 or 5 and then have these at 7 and C7. But that would be a battery that I use there in that specific spot. 7 and then 8. These 2 8 slots could be any number of things. Couple cases I might throw a additional beam fire at will 3 or something similar, some other special ability that I need. I don't necessarily have to have that. Slot C, I've set up to launch the entire tray for 7 and 8. At one point, I actually had enough skills to fill up 7 and 8. I don't do that as much anymore. My X key is to distribute shields. Plus, this would, and my mouse key, it would be my number 11 button here. And it launches, let's go here real quick. Back to tray 3. Oops, one's too many. So in this case here, it's going to launch 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is the science team, which on my tactical is where my tactical team goes. 2 is where the intel fleet would go. And the 3 could be any number of things that I want to do in addition to some other team buffs that I might have slotted in those spots. And then left mouse click, that actually needs to get removed because I don't like it distributing my shields at all. So this is the program. Like I said, I will have to include the link for it in the thing. So what I would do in this case here, where let me save this file since I've done some changes. So we'll get that saved, and then come up here. You get a little rundown of how to do a keybind. Copy to clipboard. Come over here, enter, Control V, and then there's the keybind that's been loaded that I just created just barely. So a little fleet dauntless is a little itty bitty ship. Doesn't seem to maneuver as well as I've seen other ships do. But I think they've got a little more into the engines than I do as well. So, giving Timber a little bit of time. He hasn't come back yet. He might be on a phone call for the next little while. Let's do a quick run here real quick then. Bunch of people waiting here, so there must be... I'm going to do an engage here. This is just the normal effective space. My house is, even though I'm confident that many of them can do DPS, I try not to take them into the DPS runs until I am positive that they will do the minimum, which is like the 10K runs, until I know for sure that they've accomplished that alone. I don't like pugging, I'll be honest. I would rather not pug a run. Um, Simply because it's a few minutes and I could be spinning, doing other things, and having to worry about like people like him where he's going off and running off before everyone's even ready to join him up, and end up seeing people that die because of that. I need to change that because it's changing my camera to focus on what I don't want it to focus on right now, which is my target. All the ships right there.
And I'm back. Oh my god.
Welcome back.
Suffice to say, a lot of listening, not a lot of talking.
Yep.
All right, so what did I miss?
Whole lot of pugging right now. Is what's going on. We're
Okay.
discussing a little bit of keybinds and the advantage of using them.
Which I don't.
Yep.
That might surprise some people out there, but I don't use keybinds. I've been tempted to, but when I first started the game, I was turned off to them because all I heard about keybinds was botting. Now, of course, that isn't what Cryptic and Perfect World and everything is looking at as botting, but it turned me off to it. So I've had to adapt my playstyle to actually clicking and using the keyboard for physical buttons, which works, but I'm sure key binding is a lot smoother for your playstyle than just what I do. So
Yeah.
it's one of those. I've selected a hard mode of sorts, and key binding is a lot easier.
And there I go, dying. This is one of those things I am not used to, this particular setup here.
Oh, ouch.
And you see my gravity well going off.
Good gravity wheel, bad death. Oh. What's your character's first name so I can look at the parser?
Alilis.
Well, not bad if that's a live feed.
It is.
Yeah, and that's the exact ship. I mean, that's just what that ship can do with it having 4 tactical consoles and 5 science. You might not think that it's a disability to have 6 weapons, but with the console layouts and what that thing can do as a science with a science tune, oh, it's beautiful, absolutely
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah. And I'm still getting used to how this ship flies and everything.
I mean, you don't have bad numbers if I'm reading this correctly, at least for your starting off mode. 6,700 is that's not bad. Oh, there you go, and spike to 74. That's not bad starting off with a science tune you're not used to.
No, not bad at all, really. And this is on Infected Space Normal, too, so
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to go and do advanced or anything yet.
Yeah, don't want to rock the boat too much.
Well, then doing it in a pug, it's not guaranteed that you're going to succeed in the mission or anything else like that.
Entirely true.
So there's that. Let me. I'm kind of curious about this. Those who may not know, this is CLR Combat Log Reader, which currently the sponsor for the DPS medals and used to be the DPS League main thing that was used. The DPS Numbers channel is working on making a setup that has got their own log parser that they'll be using. It's going to be a little time before that is actually done and ready here. So give it time.
Yeah, just give it time. It's like anything else. You've got to, especially when you're starting from scratch, you've got to do coding. You've got to do a graphical interface. It'll take time, but I'm sure with everything that's going on, we're going to have a wide array coming out of various tools, and I guess I'll use it kit modules to make a better reference towards the game of what we can do and how we can record it.
Yep. And for having, what is it, not having this maxed out yet, which I believe does have exotic damage boost right there, shield hit points, shield haul and healing, and regeneration. So not too bad. It gets a little more exotic later on down the road. Let's go into the science, see how much. So there's exotic damage. It's only 195 so far. The graviton generator is only 129 so far at this point in time. So it's still got a little ways to go before the gravity well becomes something that's of great use. But that you also got to remember that this is with a flow caps for all the science consoles rather than part gens. So that's some of the things that to take in consideration on this build when it comes right down to it. And it, between the two that I use, probably about the same amount. 1 and 2, there. 1 is about half of what 3 is for the gravity well. So, and then I don't think it doesn't seem to be calculating in inhibiting. Okay, so that's the inhibiting. So this is that radiation damage.
Yes.
That it did. So that wasn't too bad from the radiation damage that it did by itself. Where's that on here? Cat's hacking a balloon. Hit right there. It is secondary, so that it only did about 64 DPS as a whole. But that's one of those things. That's all right. Pets, heal damage, hazard emitters, engineering team. Overall, for a first time out, as this happened, I mean, it's not too bad. Max 1 hit. It was coming from a overload 1. That must have been my Nimbus attack. I don't have that. I'm surprised that the particle emission torpedo didn't do. That's with the radiation. Where's the torpedo itself? Max 1 hit of 425. What? Plasma explosion, 111k. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. I don't even see the torpedo on here. I guess I didn't use it enough. Maybe 1-2 times. Heavy 2. Yeah, there's still a lot to do. Easy, simple as that. There's a lot to do on this thing yet to make it even remotely useful. I even used a high yield, but yeah. So there's still a lot to do. Still a lot to grow and accomplish on the ship. I can. I'm hoping I can get it up so that it's into that 40 to 60k range, and I think I can even push it into 75k range with the Vesta, which I do have access to. So I have to get a ship upgrade token or 2. One for my T5i, so when I'm ready to upgrade that after I hit 75k with it at T5, I can pull it up and see what it does at T5U. And then for the Vesta for T5U as well. But so that was that. Hopefully this was good, informative for those people who are looking to uh, know how and the best, quickest ways to respec their skills and the traits, um, especially when you change to a different kind of style for your captain. And sometimes this is a matter of learning how to fly the ship. And I'm certain I could probably do a lot better after a little bit more practice of when to use some of the skills and some of the different things that I have. So, as for today, this is the end of the episode. Be sure to hang around if you want for any of the after show discussions that we have going on. And we'll see you on Saturday. Well, we actually have a player submission that we'll be going through and reviewing. So that should be fun because that's a science build that's doing a lot better than I am. Thank you and have a wonderful day, everyone.
See you guys.
All right, give me a second. I gotta stop presenting here. 6 people on YouTube.
Yeah. Good viewership.
Yeah. Pull it up right now here. Okay. Answer a quick question from the wife.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, so far that wasn't that. I'm kind of impressed by how that ship did.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like with its tac science combination. I mean, yeah, you can't do anything with your engineering consoles, but with your science and tactical, with the right weapons, especially if you're boosting the right with the science consoles, that ship is an absolute demon.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I want one. Even if I can make it, I want to see if I can modify it for my tactical captain. But if I can bring up my science captain that I have and actually make a proper science captain, oh, the hate will be real.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still running like a elite fleet shield, the fleet spire core, roundwind engine, and everything's still at Mark 12 for the most part. Minus, like I said, the omnidirectional beam, which is 14, and then the secondary deflector, which is a 13.
Yeah.
So that I'm looking forward to pushing because this is going to probably become my next thing, and this is a level 50 captain too.
Yeah. And that's one of the things with the science, as far as the science you can push things. That's what people have been telling me, like that. Well, you could get higher DPS out of your science. I'm like, yeah, because of an extra plasma console, but if I want to go science, I want a fleet dauntless. I want a Wells. I want ones that everybody drools over when they think of science captain. These are the ships they go for. That's what I want.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I looked at. I mean, I got in my C store availability here. Let's go to ships, T6. It's not a signed ship. There's my signed ship that I got right now. Piloting ships, which obviously are fun. And I might pull the one out that's got 4 science consoles and 5 there just for the fun of it. But let's figure which one that is. Not that one. Where's the other pilot ships? I'll just go down the list. I mean, Guardian, Cruiser, obviously the command ships. I have every T6 ship so far, minus the Pathfinder.
Dang.
I purchased all the mega packs as they came out.
You, sir, have too much money.
Yep.
Just saying.
Just saying. The Scryer, I was not impressed by the Scryer as a whole, myself, honestly. I might pull it out for the science build, just for the fun of it. I was going to do a claim on that anyways. Load just capped up with science ships. Here's the Icarus. That's my pilot ship. I might make this the ship to use. Honestly.
Jeez. Now with the science captain, you've done it more since captains they don't get attack pattern alpha. They run sensor scans and they really don't do attack patterns that much. I wouldn't put anything in my skill tree for attack pattern boosts, would I?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking myself. I was actually thinking about dropping that and putting it all into the batteries.
I gotta play with this captain because this is gonna be different.
This has been different. For ship to pull out, pilot ship, of course.
Particle fit.
Do I got too many ships already? I thought I got rid of a couple. I thought I got rid of a ton, actually.
Who said you could have too many ships?
Either that or I already got it out. There's the okay. Is that what I? Okay, I already got the squire out and ready and playing. Okay, dokie. There's my pilot escort. Probably my favorite set of ships in the entire game itself. I have to say that. More fun than any other ship that I've ever flown. The only sad thing is it does not have the secondary deflector in the science side.
Yeah.
So if you want to really get the secondary deflector, you're out of luck. That's the only problem with these ships. Probably why I would end up using the Fleet Dauntless instead. So, but that's some of the things I enjoy. Hey, look, I almost got enough to do another mission or two. I can actually get enough up. Actually, I will probably end up using these. 66 of these that I got stacked up, ready to use.
You stopped presenting. That's why we can't see anything.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I imagine it looks awesome, though.
There we go. Back to presenting. Anyways, I got 66 dilithium mine claims.
Oh, yeah. I forgot how many I have on my main.
That comes... This is not my main.
Oh, it's not?
No. No, it's not. My main has like 85.
God.
And that's not Rolock either. My main was not Rolock. Okay.
What's your main then?
My main is an engineer. Pull him out here real quick here.
So you rolled a dangerous engineer.
And he's still only in level 50. I got him, and then after a little bit, that's when I started doing started getting into the DPS bit of things. So he's got 87, and I actually spread the wealth and when I opened boxes so that I had multiple captains, and I think the other 3 captains that I opened lockboxes up on a regular basis ended up using up their dilithium claims. They had like 40 and 50. That's not including what's in the bank, which is 164. So,
God.
I will be mining for ages.
Yeah.
Needless to say, that's one of those things that I will not escape the mining for a long time. And by long, I mean long.
You mean forever?
Pretty much. But it's one of those things that I did. Oh, look, I got 743, so I can actually get that final level on that stupid inhibiting. So, but yeah, so that's some of the things that I have. And, it's one of the fun things that it's not one of those instantly boom. I had it. It took. I mean, you got to remember how long I've had this account.
Oh yeah, I know. You scare me because I've barely been around for 2 years, and I'm just starting my 5th character with a science tune, and that's tonight. But my main is the one that y'all always see me on for my videos, and I've got a secondary that's been around for, I don't know, 5 months. And then I've got my Klingon that's been around for about the same amount of time, and I gave up on that one because the Klingon side of everything, unfortunately, is so dead. And I got tired of grinding dilithium.
Yep.
And then my Delta accrued, I stopped at 55 simply because after 55, I finished everything. There was nothing to do with it. I just keep it because I never know if they're going to do anything with Delta recruits in the future.
Yep. And here is it gets 15 exotic and flow caps at like 14, so that's
Oh, that's not bad.
not bad at all.
Oh, I want that ship. You give ship to us. We make it go.
Yes, I do make it go. I mean, I got another tack console add on there, and you can see I got a tack console waiting and biting at the bit to get slotted up. I'm not even sure why I got this torpedo one. I think I just put it in there for the fun of it. It's one of those things I just did. And this captain's not even spec'd out for torpedoes at all.
Oh, I believe it. That's what I'm saying. With some of those torpedoes, like the particle emission plasma, it has the part gen proc. So if you stack particle generators, then yeah, you don't have anything in kinetics, but you don't need to. The moment that torpedo procs, you burn the thing to death with a single torpedo.
Yep.
I learned that from Odin.
Oh yeah. That's why an exotic build can be very beneficial to someone like Odin because of the fact that it brings everything right there together. His torpedo goes off in a high yield. It's going to do
over.
damage. It's yeah. It's over and it's done and it's waiting on the damage to finally come out. And you know, you bring that all the like the torpedo spreads and the high yields. Yeah, it's gonna be this is his playground for things like that. I was kind of sad that he wasn't able to make it on.
Yeah, because he's the other build. I mean, Proteus and everybody, they've got me wanting to do science builds, but at the same time, he's got me doing a torpedo build. Like, I want to. I can honestly say if a good escort was to come out that had pilot abilities, or if I can save up for a pilot ship, that might be a torpedo build for me.
Speaking of torpedo builds, here we go.
Hold on.
As soon as it updates, I still got to get some tack consoles for this guy yet. So this is my torpedo guy here, which flow caps doesn't really do anything because of the fact that I don't have a leech for one, and for two, it's just plasma explosion didn't quite work like I was hoping it would.
That's still a good torpedo boat. I know him. I think he uses. I want to say he uses the two-piece. He has that proton weapon for shields.
Yeah. See, in the end, what's going to end up happening is this ship is going to be a scimitar.
Oh, I got you.
This is this here until I get Ahad.
And then you're going to put it on a scimitar.
Yes.
Now here is my question, because I've never rolled a Romulan. I mean, I'm running a Fed science, so I've never rolled a Romulan. I think past, I want to say, level 5. I got bored with it because I needed to play my Federation character. If you were doing a science, would running the science scimitar be worth it with all the boosts to science builds? Like, would that basically make the scimitar an ultra uber part grav gen build?
You've seen the skittle boat that I have, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that almost double on a science guy with science skills.
Oh, so it would be an improvement.
Indeed. For those who have not seen the skittle boat, let me give me a couple minutes and show you what I mean by my skittle boat. We do some fun runs from time to time where we're running some different things, and on the DPS channels, we got down to a point where we says, skitterbolt time. Let's do a skitterbolt. And so, okay, here's a skitterbolt.
Yeah, it comes to the point, and you have to understand for the DPS channels and chasing DPS. Yes, that's fun, but after a while, it gets boring because we've reached a certain brick wall that we're trying to break, and it takes forever for learning how to break that brick wall. So what we'll do instead is we'll play with different fun builds. Me, I'm doing kinetics. I'm trying to do hybrid builds. He's got his skittle boats, and it's you're pushing those for high DPS, yes, but you're also learning new mechanics at the same time. You're learning new build trees, new gear, and it just elevates the fun because you're having to relearn everything over and over again. But in the end, you have knowledge on so many different builds. You can almost take anything you want, almost put it together, and have something that's going to work surprisingly well.
Yep.
We're nerds. Get over it.
We definitely are. And to answer your question, Ernest, there on YouTube here, it depends. If you are not running um, beams, for example, if you're running more of a torpedo focus, you could go with the exploiters for the attack consoles and be just fine. Let me give an example of some cases where that might be going on. Torpedo build, for example, in this case here, where I've just done a skittle boat, and I don't even you don't even see a single attack console on this ship. There's not a attack console that I've used on this. And it does, this ship by itself, as it is right this moment, does 18K in ISA by itself.
That's impressive.
So here it has 379 on the particle generators. If I go into my skills, you see I only got 6 points in the particle generators and then 0 in the graviton. So those are the two that affect gravity wells. So 99 on, here it is. Where? No, it's not even on there. So the graviton generators will go up to 99 when you max that out, which increases your damage that your gravity wells does. And then if you, the additional 3 points plus a couple other things, if I had this instead of the EPS, is I had that as a part gen console, that would increase the damage, and you can push this up to 425. I think it's the highest that I've heard on the particle generator so far. So that's one of the things that you can do to push it up even further and higher, so you can increase your damage that way. So this ship here is, to answer the question from on the Twitch channel here, why turrets? Why not? It's named the Skittles for a reason. It is purely a ship that I built for the fun of it. I did it to max out my particle generators and to give as large of a boost to this particular item here, which is the Thaleron Pulse. This pulse I've seen get hits of 400,000. So as far as the new car console is there to boost the exotic damage. That's why I use this new car console itself. Yes, it is. It does give accuracy to the beam weapons, but it's not there for the beam weapons. It's there for the exotic damage that it does, which it will go up. I think it goes up to like 20 to 25 at 14 ultra rare epic, if I remember right. See if I can get someone to link it in. In the meantime, but that's some of the things that I do and use. Is it like I said, this is my purely for fun ship. When you get our crazy times that we want to do something completely different, or in the case of one example where we run crystalline entity to hit high max runs for Odinite, for example, to get him a max run there, he gets a major kick out of it because we basically boost him to the maximum potential that he gets.
Yeah.
So, in this particular ship, I still have, like, all my officers are still being used as realm of superior operatives. I believe the only thing that's different is Sloan here, which happens to have superior infiltrator here for one thing that he has. That's the other one that I have. There she is. She has the superior subterfuge. So that's one of the differences of the Romulans is they get, and this comes from the Delta pack. So you get 3 DOF officers, or 3 bridge officers that aren't too bad for 2 of them for the Romulans, but for the Federation, the KDFs, they kind of got the shaft on that in of aspect because I think if I remember right, my Fed officer, I never claimed the officers over there because they were that bad. They didn't give anything major.
Yeah, you end up replacing them after a while. They're just good placeholders.
Yeah, that's all they were. That is, in those cases, there. For my roster, what I actually have that's being used for those asking. There's my duty officers here, and this captain in particular. So I have my con officer here for the tactical team and buff. Helps to reduce the tactical team. That's on this particular captain here with this. I should say correction on this ship in particular. I don't have tactical team. I did not max this out for that potential. I don't bother switching out the duty officers on a regular basis because I don't want to. Simple as that. So I have I have Durin for the damage from Borg, ZMAC for the attack pattern boost and the reduced charge times there. Kiel is the warp core engineer that you can get that helps remove debuffs when you use any emergency powers. I have an exocomp, which every time I use a battery, it gives me a boost from those batteries, 10% damage from weapon batteries. And if people on my team uses a weapon battery, then I get an additional 10%. If people on my team has this officer, when I use my batteries, I get 10% damage because I only use the weapons and auxiliary power batteries. So this is one thing that I recommend to people who typically notice that they run with me a lot. Get yourself an exocomp or at least one of the maintenance engineers that gives you the additional buffs when batteries are used. And you get yourself a free 10% damage without having to use the battery. Plus, it's one of those things for increasing DPS that's huge. And then Mariendorf, obviously, for the Dim 1 that I have in use. So, but that's the bridge officers, or the duty officers and the bridge officers that I have in a nutshell in this particular officer. The ship, like I said, this is my kicking around, having fun, totally build. And this is one of the things I forgot to mention is this chiroplasma infused singularity core. Might make it in part of my final builds on my other officer because of what it also gives in addition. Because it actually has, where was it at? Plus 20 Starship particle generator.
Really? I had forgotten about that.
Yes. So that's one of the other reasons to use with this with that item. I think you have to do the store to unlock that, but you can still find them on exchange to get the parts. Let's see if it's still showing up. I didn't see it. Nope, no longer available. That's sad. It used to be available where you can still get it now, but now they just got all the junk, like clothing equipment and such.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll come back, and they'll probably try to add something to it.
Yeah, either that or what'll happen is they'll make that core, warp core, scene core available through a ship or something like that. So, but this is the Skittle boat. It's quite fun because the only time I need to aim is when I need to use a science skill or the Thaleron Pulse. Like I said, this is my breakaway from the DPS change of routine of things and do something completely different than normal.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm going to bow out of this for the time being. I know you're explaining this. I've got to make another phone call, and then I've got to start recording. So I will see you after this.
I'm actually done here. I'm going to stop
Okay.
broadcasting here. Have fun, everyone. Good luck. And make sure you come in and do some submissions so that we can have fun and enjoy things.
And you never know, we might even pull you in for the video ahead of time so you can test out changes live.
Exactly.